All right, let's talk about economics. Now, I know it's a subject that a lot of people find kind of intimidating, right? But what if I told you it's secretly at the heart of, well, everything you do? It all starts with the hundreds of little choices you make before you've even had your morning coffee. I mean, just think about your morning. You probably grab your phone and start scrolling, and you're just hit with this constant wave of information. Ads, news, what your friends are up to. And you're making all these little decisions: what to watch, what to buy, even what to believe. This information overload, it's pretty much the soundtrack of our lives, and it forces us to make choice after choice, often without having all the facts.
So here's a question for you, and it might sound a little weird at first. What in the world does something as simple as posting online have to do with economics? I mean, you're not buying anything, you're not selling anything, right? Or are you?
Well, here's the twist. You are trading something. Something incredibly valuable, actually. Your time and your attention. You're making a choice on how to spend those limited resources to get some kind of outcome you want. And that right there is the heart of economics. It's really just the science of how we make decisions. And this brings us to our first big idea. Economics isn't just about money or the stock market or big business. Nope, it's woven into the very fabric of our lives because at its core, it is simply the study of choices.
Exactly. You really don't have to be a CEO or a world leader to be an economic actor. Every time a family sits down and debates, okay, do we go on vacation this year or do we get a new car? That's an economic calculation. Every time you decide to study for 1 more hour instead of watching a movie, you're making an economic choice. We all are, all the time.
So why do we even have to make choices? Why can't we just have everything we want? Well, that question leads us to the single most important concept in all of economics, the one idea that drives everything else. And that word is scarcity. So here's the textbook definition, but it's really the engine that makes the whole world turn. Scarcity just means that our wants are pretty much infinite, but our resources, things like our time, our money, our raw materials, they are definitely not. It's the ultimate mismatch. We want everything, but the world can only give us so much. And this is not just some theoretical idea you read about in a book. This slide shows the harsh reality of it. Huge problems like hunger and homelessness, they exist for one fundamental reason, because the resources needed like food and shelter are scarce. It's a very real, very tangible problem that societies grapple with every single day. So when we talk about resources, we mean things like labor, tools, land, raw materials. But there's one resource that's scarce for every single person on this planet, no matter who you are, and that's time. We all get 24 hours in a day. That's it. How we choose to use them is a core economic decision.
Okay, so if scarcity is the fundamental problem, what's humanity's greatest solution? Well, to figure that out, we actually have to go back in time to 1776. We're going to visit a simple pin factory with the father of modern economics, Adam Smith, to see how he discovered our secret weapon in the fight against scarcity. So in his game-changing book from 1776, The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith introduced a concept that literally changed the world: the division of labor. And it was all based on something pretty incredible that he observed in a simple little pin factory. Now just look at these numbers for a second. The scale of this is mind-blowing. Smith noticed that one worker trying to do all 18 steps to make a single pin could maybe make about 20 pins in an entire day. But if you took 10 workers and had each one specialize in just 1 or 2 of those tasks, that small factory could produce a staggering 48,000 pins in a day. This wasn't just a small improvement. It was a productivity explosion. It's basically the blueprint for the modern world. So why is this so powerful? Well, Smith boiled it down to 3 key reasons. First, specialization lets people focus on what they're good at. Simple enough. Second, when you do the same thing over and over, you become an expert and you start finding better, faster ways to do it. And third, it creates something called economies of scale. Think of it like this. Making one pizza at home is kind of expensive. But if a pizza shop buys ingredients for 1,000 pizzas, the cost for each slice goes way, way down. That's economies of scale. Okay, so specialization creates this vast, incredibly complex web of people and businesses all treating with each other. It's a lot. So how do economists even begin to make sense of it all? Well, they look at it through 2 different lenses. These 2 lenses are microeconomics and macroeconomics. Micro is like looking through a microscope. You zoom way in to focus on the choices of individuals, households, workers, a single business. You're studying the individual trees. On the other hand, macroeconomics is like looking at a satellite image. You zoom way out to see the big picture, the entire economy. You're studying the whole forest, looking at things like overall growth, unemployment, and inflation. And there's this perfect analogy to help understand the difference. Think about studying a lake. One scientist might focus on a specific kind of algae or plant life. That's micro. Another scientist might study the lake's entire ecosystem, the overall health, the water levels, everything. That's macro. They're both studying the same lake, but from different and equally important perspectives. That's micro and macro in a nutshell. So, we've covered scarcity, specialization, and the two lenses of economics. But let's bring it all back home. We've already established that your time is scarce, right? So why is spending that time learning about this stuff a good choice? Well, here's the crucial takeaway. Understanding economics gives you a whole new toolkit for understanding the world. It helps you make sense of the big global headlines. It makes you a more informed citizen when it's time to vote. And maybe most important of all, it gives you a filter to tell the difference between a sound argument and just pure nonsense. In short, it makes you a sharper thinker.
Ultimately, economics isn't going to tell you exactly what to believe or what the right answers are. But what it will do is illuminate the choices and the trade-offs that are in front of all of us. So my question to you is this. After everything we've talked about, what choices in your own life will you start to see a little bit differently now?